You're still young and your life is going to be very different. You're not going to be able to do everything that your buddies are doing. You're going to have to follow these rules, because if you don't follow the rules, you're going to go to prison. They may or may not. So you're starting off your early adulthood very different. But if you go out there and make me look like a fool for giving you an opportunity, it's not going to go well. You understand that? I'm talking because I don't know what I'm going to do with you right now. Because I don't disagree with either attorney here today. And this is cause number 26 DCCR 0112. Mr. Jackson was previously in court, entered a plea of guilty to aggravated robbery. There was no agreement in this case. I've received the pre-sentence report. Have you both had an opportunity to review that report?
We have, Your Honor.
Yes. Are there any additions or corrections?
Not from the defense, not from the state judge.
Right, Mr. Rojas, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And rule on it if you want.
I realize, Judge, we've got a problem with guns in this county, and more specifically in the city.
I mean, the gist of it is,
I don't know that anything we do here today is going to solve that problem. Certainly there are things you can do to deter other people watching this and see what happens to young people with guns. But I think there are some people who are not going to learn their lesson until they go to prison and spend a certain amount of time there. There are some people who are going to go to prison and never going to learn that lesson. They'll just spend their life in a revolving door, coming into court, prison, in court, back to prison. And there are those that,
since it is still
for whatever reason, the circumstances they find themselves in their life, they make bad decisions, make mistakes, and are deserving of a second chance.
I believe that
he was raised by his mother and his grandmother. He lost his mother, I think he was 15 when she passed away.
Even if the case were to proceed,
his life went into a downward spiral from there. Just,
Your Honor, you know where I stand on these kind of cases, so I won't belabor that. But what I will do is point out what I consider to be aggravating factors in this case, Judge. And despite Mr. Rojas's argument as to what mitigation there is in this case, I believe the aggravating circumstances outweigh any mitigating circumstances. And what I'm getting at is the fact that this defendant robbed at gunpoint with another co-defendant who was also brandishing a firearm, a 16-year-old, took his iPhone in front of that 16-year-old's 5-year-old niece, Judge. Can you imagine the trauma to that 5-year-old to watch her 16-year-old uncle get robbed at gunpoint, Judge? And with regard to the firearm that this defendant used, it was a P80, Your Honor, for the courts, in case you're not familiar with that. Polymer 80 firearm that comes in a firearm kit that is partially complete. Doesn't take much to make it a functioning firearm. The thing about that is the ATF calls those guns ghost guns because they have no serial number. I submit to the court, what does a defendant, in this case, a 17-year-old defendant, need with a firearm that does not have a serial number, Judge? So for those reasons, I say that any mitigating circumstances are outweighed by those aggravating circumstances that I just referenced. And I'd ask the court to sentence this defendant in accordance with your sentences in other similarly situated cases, Judge. Thank you.
Start any process.
Thank you, Mr.
At this point.
Coleman.
It was filed today.
Mr. Jackson, these cases are hard for me, and I know Mr. Rojas has told you what's been going on and what's been going on in this court, and I'm sure you're aware of all of that.
Again, that's going to be just on hold.
I find your case
Your Honor, may I
a little bit different
one more matter?
than some,
I was in court at 9
but,
o'clock this morning for docket,
not
and
the guns are the biggest
10:20
concern
to look at my
for me
email on
and for
Sunday
everyone.
to find that there's a motion
And
to compel
the
discovery,
using
and for
them in a
in-camera
way
review of the state's file, and
like
the
it's no
only
big deal,
thing that I
and
would
everybody
like to
having them at
address
15,
regarding this
16,
motion at
14,
this time
whatever.
is that it refers
I
specifically
appreciate,
to the 11.072 motion.
The fact also,
and
though,
appears
that
to suggest
you've
that
never
the
been
state,
in trouble.
has not
As a juvenile, you've never been in our
has
system.
not complied with
You
discovery. And this is a
Figured
motion
out
to
real
revoke
quick that you need to
probation.
follow the rules
I
in
did
jail,
provide
because I'm sure word got out there is people are talking about the fact that
defense
that
counsel
is something
on the
that really
motion to
affects
revoke,
me
as
and what
well
I
as the
do. And so I
administrative
appreciate the
hearing,
fact that you've gotten your act
which I'm not
together out
generally
there.
required to do, but I do to be helpful. And also the pre-sentence investigation report.
And I'm talking because I don't know what I'm going to do with you right now.
I
Because I don't disagree with either attorney here today.
To compel, as I said, I just briefly
And that puts me in a
skimmed it,
position
but
where
those
I've got,
items
my
stood
job
out.
is two things. It's one to,
Well, based on your.
well, more than that, really.
The
One is to protect our community. Another is to punish. Another is to rehabilitate. It's just, it's something where I have to potentially take chances that makes me sometimes
We're here
uncomfortable.
for a hearing. We're here to.
It looks like that before your mom passed away, you were doing really well.
French has.
In school, playing
represented
basketball,
to the
right?
court that she has provided discovery with.
And that's a
regard
hard thing to
motion
go through,
revoke, which
especially
is
at your
what we're here
age.
for
But you
today.
can't let something
There's
like
already been a
that
plea on that underlying offense.
get
So
you
we're
where
going
you are
forward
now,
with the motion to revoke.
right? What would she
hearing
want
on
you to be
sentencing at
doing?
this time.
Not this.
I'm not going to
Right?
sign or grant any motion to compel. Sounds
So
like
does
they have
grandmother live
already
in the same
complied,
neighborhood where all
with
this took
everything they're
place?
required to do, plus
Stay with my
to give you
grandma.
whatever information.
You live with your
you need
grandmother,
with regard
but does
to
she
going
live
forward
in that
with this
same
hearing.
neighborhood?
So
Is
we're
that
gonna
where you
go
were living
forward.
when this happened?
Yes.
So.
Not
the
literally, but
argument in the
neighborhood.
motion
Somebody.
is-
How far away from the
Right.
windows apartments do you
And
live?
I can
2
tell the
blocks.
court, like, since it's an unadjudicated case, I believe that the standard discovery rules apply, and discovery is not limited to just the administrative documents and the.
Do you have anything you want to tell me?
The motion to adjudicate guilt or the motion to revoke unadjudicated.
Apologize to the
probation.
victim and the victim family.
That
We put them in this
you know,
situation.
she is here being sentenced on the underlying offense. And
All right,
I'm
here's what I'm
asking
going to
for
do, Mr.
discovery
Jackson, and I
regarding the
hope,
underlying offense, which still haven't been
that you don't make me
provided.
regret this.
So
Because
my
here's what's
objection
going to
proceeding
happen.
today would be
I'm going to give you a
that,
probation. There's going
on
to
this
be
ground would
all
be
kinds
that
of
I have not
conditions on this
received
probation.
discovery after a
And
request
because there was no
of the-
agreement, the type of
of the
probation that I'm
offense
going to
we're
give
here for
you
sentencing.
means that if you
And
violate it,
that I think
I'm
that
going
the
to have the
Warden Act
entire
requires
punishment
that.
range,
The
which is
second
between
fold,
5 years and up
argument
to the
here
rest of your
is
life.
that
You understand that punishment range?
1107-2
I can tell you
habeas
this,
matter,
today,
which
if
at this
I had
point is
sent
on
you to
file,
prison,
that,
probably would
that
have been in the
additional,
15, 20-year range.
ground that
If you're
creates a
back in
discovery
here,
obligation in the
after
state,
I give you this
since it is an
opportunity,
1107-2 matter,
it's not
contrasting
going to
that
be
to
that.
1107 matters, which have their own kind of
Yes, ma'am.
I can't tell you what it'll be. I don't know. It'll depend on what all's going on. But if you go out there and make me look like a fool for giving you an opportunity, it's not going to go well. You understand that? I want you to succeed. You've got family here. They want you to succeed. So what I'm going to do is find that you entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily. Find sufficient evidence to find you guilty. However, I'm going to defer all proceedings. You will be on probation, on a deferred probation for 10 years. I'm going to order a $500 fine. I'm also going to order that you serve 3 months upfront time. And so after that 3 months in our county jail, you will then be ordered to enter and successfully complete the cognitive track of the ISF program. And let me tell you what that program's for. It is to help you make better decisions. You need to pay attention there. You're still young and your life is going to be very different. You're not going to be able to do everything that your buddies are doing. You're going to have to follow these rules, because if you don't follow the rules, you're going to go to prison. They may or may not. So you're starting off your early adulthood very different, and you either make a conscious decision to change and grow up and be mature about it, or you end up in prison. It's that simple, right? Once you get out of ISF, you'll live with grandmother. I'm going to order that you are ordered to live with her at her house until I order otherwise. So you get a job, you want to get your own place, you want to go live somewhere else, you don't get to do that without my permission. So you don't get to go hang out other places. You're home every single night. You will have a curfew. If you're not there and you're caught not home when you're supposed to be, you're right back in here and you could go to prison. So I'll do what I can to put the rules there. It's up to you to follow them. Make sense?
I would feel more comfortable, Your Honor, if we address
Obviously,
these
a
things
condition of
before
your
we have a
probation
sentencing hearing.
is that you are not allowed to have any firearm at all.
You cannot have firearms at your disposal. So if there are firearms at grandmother's house, they either have to be under lock and key or removed from that house. I can assure you, if you get in trouble with a gun again, it's really not going to be good. Okay? This is your chance. I hope you take it and this changes your life, because this type of probation that I just gave you means you do not have a felony conviction on your record. So if you have a felony conviction, it changes your life really bad in a lot of ways. You can't get certain jobs, you can't go to certain schools, you can't live certain places, even apartments. Sometimes they don't let convicted felons live there. So you don't have a felony conviction right now. But if you violate, you're back in and you do. So you kind of have a clean slate. It's up to you to keep it that way. Okay? I'm handing you the trial court certification that shows this was an agreement. Or there was no agreement, actually. You do have some rights to appeal. You can talk to Mr. Rojas about that.
Judge, I would ask that the court consider making a condition of its probation, no contact with the co-defendants.
Yes.
And I was looking for the names of those co-defendants, and I can't find this.
It might be in here. So, Mr. Jackson, you are to have absolutely no contact, no communication whatsoever with Dale McDonald, okay? And also, obviously, no contact, no communication with the victims in the offense. You're not to go near that street or their house. So if that's the way you normally get in and out of the neighborhood, you've got to find another way to go. You cannot be anywhere near that area. Do you understand?
I want to give you time to make sure, and obviously time for me to